Irrigation is a unique place for IDE to be, but I think more importantly, if we employ the Prism insights, the incremental value of the irrigation is by far and away the best thing that farmer can do. Not always. Sometimes market access is better, sometimes better seeds are better, but in lots and lots of contexts, the irrigation input is the best incremental thing that we can offer to farmers.
We're talking here about a business-based approach, that the interventions are being delivered through the local private sector. We're facilitating the delivery of products and services through a viable, vibrant private sector, not directly from IDE. That focus on empowering local entrepreneurs, the local private sector, to be the primary service providers to farmers, and not setting ourselves up as an NGO being the primary provider of products or services. That kind of thinking is something that I've found inspirational, and I think speaks to some of the reasons why I joined IDE in the first place. I had gone through a Prism training. We went through the initial situation analysis, what seemed to be the bottlenecks, what are the constraints that farmers are facing, what are the opportunities that farmers have in front of them, which is, I think, fairly typical for a lot of situation assessments that you might do in a variety of different contexts. But the next step was to identify who in the local private sector is providing those products or services, or could be providing those products or services, and what's preventing them from being that service provider to the farmer. I think that's something that sets us apart. In my previous work, the situation analysis would have ended at the point of identifying the constraints or identifying the opportunities, and then quickly jumping to suggesting solutions and then delivering those solutions as the NGO. You become then, in an ongoing sense, the primary provider, and you haven't built up the local private sector. If you can incorporate local private sector providers as the primary conduit of products and services to farmers, that's the sustainable solution. And of course, building in the margins and the profitability that makes it interesting for those providers to continue offering those products and services after you leave.
So I think in market development, we're looking at a lot of the systemic approach. At the same time, sometimes I feel the whole bottom-up approach, primarily if you're looking at the whole, at least the bottom of the pyramid, real bottom of the pyramid, only a systemic approach might not work. So you do need a, if I may use the words, a top-down and a bottom-up approach to connect both things together. And I think ID does that. Not necessarily it talks to every member of the community, but understands that community and then starts, also helping them come up the ladder. And then, then the private companies or the market systems go down the ladder. So I think that connection is what I feel is special about ID's approach.